Let's preview the Boston Red Sox for 2026, up next on Fantasy Baseball Today. Welcome to On the Beat, our team preview series here at Fantasy Baseball Today. I am Chris Towers, joined by Jen McCaffrey, who covers the Red Sox for The Athletic. Make sure to give her a follow on X at JC McCaffrey. And it's been an eventful offseason for the Boston Red Sox. We recorded one of these a couple of weeks ago, and then I think the day of, Ranger Suarez signed with the Red Sox. That was one of their biggest moves. They also acquired Sonny Gray and Wilson Contreras from the Cardinals in separate deals. They acquired Johan Oviedo from the Pirates for Yostinson Garcia. They sent Vaughn Grissom to the Angels. But this is all within the context of losing Alex Bregman after trading away Rafael Devers to ostensibly make room for Alex Bregman. So it's been a lot, ups and downs for the Red Sox. But I think on the whole, it's been a very good offseason. It leads to some real questions for this team because for all the success they've had with this farm system the last couple of years, they kind of have some overflow at a couple of key positions. So the first big question we've got for you, Jen, heading into spring training, is there enough room for Kristian Campbell and Marcelo Meyer in this lineup?
Yeah, that's going to be one of the main things we're watching here in spring training. Campbell played winter ball in Puerto Rico, actually, for the Red Sox bench coach Ramon Vasquez, and actually a team right in Alex Cora's hometown in Caguas, Puerto Rico. So they had close eyes on him, and he played down there for about 3-4 weeks, I want to say, only in the outfield. They eventually want him to continue having that versatility of the infield, outfield. He came up obviously as a second baseman last year and struggled a little bit. But the reason they're kind of putting him in the outfield for now is just they want him to focus just on getting his hitting back, getting his swing back. They made some adjustments with what they think he might be able to just have some more fluidity at the plate. He has a very kind of herky-jerky swing, and it wasn't very conducive to kind of repeating itself in the majors, especially as teams got to know him, and that overexposed him. So they kind of wanted to take away the defensive, element of things and have him just focus on getting better at hitting. Now, the problem with that, though, is they already have a very full outfield with 4 big league outfielders to begin with Roman Anthony, Ceddanne Rafaela, Wilyer Abreu, and who am I forgetting right now? Jared Duran, obviously. So all off season, we've been wondering if they were going to trade one of those guys, and Craig Breslow has continued to say they are going to, they can come to find a way of rotating those guys in the outfield, and then also through the DH spot. We'll see if that stays the way it is. Right now, they don't really have a second baseman. They're kind of entering the spring a couple weeks out right now without anybody really to fill that hole. As it is right now, it seems like Marcelo Meyer will be taking majority of his reps at third base. He filled in there last year at third when Alex Bregman went down and did really well, and it seems like they like him in that spot. If they go out and try to trade for a second baseman, obviously things are up in the air. But as of right now, to kind of get back to your question, technically, there's enough room on the roster for both of them. I think Meyer for sure will be on the roster unless something, big happens this spring. I think Campbell's kind of fighting for a spot, and also just we're kind of curious of how he fits this roster going forward.
All right. The other big question for this team, and the first time we talked a couple weeks ago was who's got the leg up for the 4 and 5 spots. But now that they've added Ranger Suarez, you've got Garrett Crochet, Ranger Suarez, Sonny Gray, Brian Bayo. Those guys are locked into the rotation, it seems. So that leaves kind of one spot unless they're going to go with a 6-man rotation, which I assume they will at times. But right now, Johan Oviedo, Peyton Tolley, Connolly Early, they've got a lot of candidates. We really like the young guys, especially there for fantasy. But who's got that leg up, or is this truly a wide open competition in the spring?
I mean, I do think in some senses it's pretty wide open. That being said, Early and Tolley obviously have options and kind of, are still developing secondary pitches and just obviously rhythm in the game. They did well at the end of last year when the Red Sox really needed them. I would say at the start of spring, the thought process is at this point, they're likely to start in AAA. Obviously, injuries crop up. They could still trade a pitcher from the rotation. They could trade one of those guys. So there's a lot of question marks right now, but I do think My gut tells me right now that Early and Tolley probably start in AAA, and that fifth starter spot is probably going to be up for grabs between Cutter Crawford and Patrick Sandoval, two guys that have missed all of last year rehabbing. Crawford had knee surgery, and Sandoval they had signed while he was still rehabbing from Tommy John. So obviously Sandoval's a veteran. Crawford's been in the league for a few years now, and was pitched well in the rotation in 24. It was one of their best starters. So I think those two guys probably are entering camp with just given their experience and where they're at in their careers. Now, again, I mentioned that they haven't pitched in, over a year. So that always adds an element of uncertainty. And if they're going to be, able to pitch well this spring, you could always see earlier and Tolley kind of excelling and maybe, pushing them out of that spot, one of those spots. And then you've also got Kyle Harrison, who they acquired in the Devers trade. So he's in the mix as well. Again, right now, I think he's more of a AAA starter, but we'll see how this goes. So it's definitely another huge question kind of hanging over spring training.
Yeah, one of the truisms I think in baseball is you have too much pitching right up until the moment that you don't. So this will probably get sorted out on its own one way or the other via trades, via attrition. We'll see Connolly early and Peyton Tolley at some point, but maybe not on opening day. We are going to take a quick break and come back and talk some sleepers and breakouts for the Boston Red Sox.
When you need your sports news all the time,
we've got breaking news to bring to you.
CBS Sports HQ gives you a snapshot of all the sports that matter to you. When you need your sports in a snap, find it on CBS Sports HQ, streaming free anywhere you are.
Welcome back to Fantasy Baseball Today. I'm Chris Towers. I'm here with Jen McCaffrey from The Athletic to talk about the Red Sox. And Jen, who's your sleeper pick for this Red Sox team going into 2026?
It might not be, a traditional sleeper pick here, but I'm going with Marcelo Meyer. I think he did, he played about 30 or 40 games last summer after, again, I mentioned earlier, Bregman got hurt. He got called up, and it was late May, early June, and filled in well. He obviously struggled a little bit offensively. It was a little bit too much swing and miss, but it was a big filled in a big hole defensively at third base and really kind of stabilized things there after Bregman went down. I think there's obviously a lot more for him to come. He's a top prospect, a former, first round pick, and just one of the guys that this organization and this fan base has been waiting a while to see what can come to fruition. He's dealt with a lot of injuries. So one of the things that they really challenged him this offseason is to gain a lot of weight so he can kind of just sustain his strength throughout the season. So we'll see if this is the year that he can finally put it all together. But I have a feeling that, he's I think he has a little bit of a chip on his shoulder, just knowing that he's this top prospect, knowing he has this kind of injury bug label kind of hanging around him, and just knowing that there's a huge spot on the roster kind of open for him to lose more or less. So I think that really is going to demotivate him and really he'll kind of be the guy that people hope that he is this year.
Yeah. Do we think he's an everyday guy right away, or is this a platoon situation?
I think he is. Even when we talked at the Fan Fest with Alex Cora, he was talking about just wanting. Last year, they kind of eased him in and didn't have him play against lefties. He talked about him wanting him to play more against lefties. So I'm pretty sure that they're going to give him a kind of full go here and really test him. They think he's ready, and they just really obviously need to rip the Band-Aid off. And so I think that that he's kind of ready to take the reins here.
And I think the breakout call here is pretty obvious, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, you saw Roman Anthony again for, a limited period of time, like last summer, again, before injury cropped up late in the year. But it's hard not to, look at him as kind of the breakout guy, not even on the Red Sox, but, across baseball. I think a lot of people are really curious to see what he can do over the course of a year. After the first couple weeks where he was kind of adjusting in June after the Devers trade, and he, had gotten called up when Wilyer Abreu got hurt, he really took off and just looked like so comfortable, taking walks, in really tough spots against very, veteran and established starters. And several of them would just remark on how mature he looked. So I think The Red Sox, the fan base, baseball in general, are really looking to see him as kind of the big breakout guy this year. And now it's just a matter of, watching him do it and seeing if he actually can live up to that potential.
Yeah, fantasy players very excited about Roman Anthony, and there's a lot to like there. Big power, great approach at the plate. I'm a big fan. And that's going to do it. Big thanks to Jen McCaffrey, who covers the Red Sox for The Athletic. Make sure you check out her work and give her a follow on X at JC McCaffrey. And for more extensive fantasy baseball coverage, listen to our full-length podcast, Fantasy Baseball Today, on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or anywhere else podcasts are found. Thanks for listening to the On the Beat Team Preview Series. We'll be back again tomorrow. We'll see you then.